Hello, children. Your exams are around the corner, and I am sure you're worried about how to revise for your upcoming exams. So, we are here with a series of NCERT Solutions. Today, we are going to do force and pressure. Force and pressure, class 8th, physics chapter. First question that comes in NCERT is, give two examples each of situations in which you push or pull to change the state of motion of an object. So there are many situations in our daily life when we actually do that. Let's take few of these examples, right? So let's take example for pushing. Closing a door. Pushing a car. Then for pulling, opening a drawer, opening a drawer, or opening a door, right? It can be opening a drawer or opening a door. Usually this question does not come all alone. It usually is combined with definition of force, unit of force, and then give examples where you're pushing or pulling objects, right? Opening a door. Coming to the next question. Give two examples of situation in which applied force causes a change in the shape of an object. I've got pictures of two examples, which are very fine example that we nearly see in our daily life. Okay, so examples. Children, please always write in complete sentences. This is for your exam scoring benefits. You should be answering the question in complete sentences. Examples of situations in which force is applied to change the shape of an object. Okay, shape of an object. So the easiest example is what you see in your daily life, your mom making chapatis, right? So examples of situations in which force is applied to change the shape of an object. One, making chapati. Now here you can write in extension that dough is turned and takes a circular shape. Second, making pots. Pottery is also something where the shape changes, right? And you are applying force to give it the required shape. There are many other examples like, pulling a rubber band and many other examples like those. But here we are asked only for two, so you can give any two. Now, the third question, which is fill in the blank. To draw water from a well, we have to pull the rope. I know many of you have not ever pulled water from the well, but it is easy to imagine that you need to pull the rope to get water. A charged body dash an uncharged body towards it. So the answer is attracts. Okay. Always remember, electrostatic force is an attractional force when it is between a charged body and an uncharged body. But if there are two similar charges, it will repel, and if it are two unlike charges, then it will attract. To move a loaded trolley, we have to push it. Now, some of you may say that, ma'am, we can also pull it, but then pushing is the easiest method of moving a trolley. The north pole of a magnet dash the north pole of another magnet. So, like poles repel, and thus the answer is repels. These questions are common in 1 mark questions of your exam. Coming to the fourth question, an archer stretches her bow while taking aim at the target. She then releases the arrow, which begins to move towards the target. Based on this information, fill up the gaps in the following statement using the following terms. So the terms have been given here: muscular, contact, non-contact, gravity, friction, shape, attraction, etc. Right? So let's read the first statement. To stretch the bow, the archer applies a force that causes a change in its, a very simple thing, shape. So yeah, we can use shape and strike it out from the given options. The force applied by the archer to stretch the bow is an example of, the archer is using muscular force. So the answer is muscular force. Most of our daily activity includes muscular force, which is a contact force. The type of force responsible for a change in the state of motion of the arrow is an example of a, now, this is a contact force because the type of force responsible to change the state of motion of the arrow. Now, you are making the arrow come into motion, but you are actually using your contact, muscular force contact. So, and obviously the bow and arrow in contact, right? So, contact also goes out of option now. While the arrow moves, while the arrow moves towards its target, the forces acting on it are due to dash, and that due to dash of air. So here the answer would be gravity, right? And friction of air. Gravity and friction of air, right? Now, let's come to the fifth question. In the following situation, identify the agent exerting the force and the object on which it acts. Right? State the effect of the force in each case. First example is squeezing a piece of lemon between the fingers to extract its juice. So the fingers are the agents, the muscles, lemon is the object, and the effect is the lemon juices being expelled by squeezing. So let's write all of this. Fingers, muscles. Okay, because that's a muscular force, right? Muscles are the agent. You can write muscular force being an agent here. That way is you can even specify the force that is being applied here. Muscular force are the agent, right? And then lemon is the object. What is the effect? Lemon juice is extracted. Lemon juice is extracted. Right. Now, the second question is asking, taking out paste from a toothpaste tube. Again, you are applying muscular force. Hand is the agent. So here you can write, who is the agent? So agent, hand, is the agent. Then after agent, what is the object here? Toothpaste. So object, toothpaste. Or we can write toothpaste tube. What is the effect as asked in the question? The effect is toothpaste comes out of the tube. Out of the tube. Okay. In this question, the C part of it, a load suspended from a spring while its other end is on the hook fixed to the wall. So here, the suspended load is the agent. Agent is the suspended load. The suspended load. Now, the object here is the spring. And what do you think is the effect? When any object is suspended from a spring, we will see elongation of the spring. Elongation of the spring. Now, the D option is asking an athlete making a high jump to clear the bar at a certain height. So here the agent would be the athlete. Athlete. Agent is the one which is bringing in the chain. Okay. Object is the bar. Bar. And we can see that the effect is one is jumping over the bar. Effect, athlete jumps over the bar. Athlete jumps over the bar. Right? I still wonder how they do it, but there are many athletes and children like you must be doing this day in and day out because you're all into sports. Okay? Now, sixth question. A blacksmith hammers a hot piece of iron while making a tool. How does the force due to hammering affect the piece of iron? So the force is applied due to hammering, due to hammering, force is applied and this changes the shape of iron. Iron can be molded in any shape according to the requirement, right? So hammering changes the shape of an object. Of rather, we should be specific, changes the shape of the iron. Hammering changes the shape of the iron piece. Right? So that is what the answer would look like. Now, this is an interesting question. Question number 7. An inflated balloon was pressed against a wall after it was being rubbed with a piece of synthetic cloth. It was found that the balloon sticks to the wall. What force might be responsible for the attraction between the balloon and the ball? So now we all know that it is the electrostatic force that is responsible. Unlike charges attract, so the balloon and the wall will attract each other, right? So, and rather the wall here is an uncharged body and a charged body can attract an uncharged body as well. So the answer is electrostatic force is responsible or the balloon sticking to the wall. Right. Next question. Name the force acting on a plastic bucket containing water held above the ground. As in, you're holding it, lifting the bucket up in your hand, right? Discuss why the force acting on the bucket do not bring a change in its state of motion. So here there are two forces working: gravitational force, which is trying to pull the bucket downwards, and muscular force that you are using to lift the plastic bucket. Now there will be no change because muscular force that you have applied in upward direction and the gravitational force that is acting in the downward direction are balancing each other. So the net force on the bucket is 0. So let's write the answer. Gravitational and muscular force are acting on the bucket. Gravitational force is acting downwards. Gravitational force is acting downwards, and the muscular force is acting upwards. There is no change in the state of motion as gravitational force and muscular force balance each other. That is, the net force on bucket is 0. Now, this is going downwards, gravitational force and muscular forces acting upwards, and hence the net force is 0. Another interesting question, which is actually a very important question. A rocket has been fired upwards to launch a satellite in its orbit. Name the two forces acting on the rocket immediately after leaving the launching pad. So when the two forces that are acting is gravitational force that is acting downwards, right? And the frictional force is also acting on this rocket, right? So there are actually many forces working. There is an upward thrust. The weight of the rocket is working downwards. There is frictional force. There is gravitational force. But we have been asked about only two. So let's write that. The forces acting on the rocket at the time of the launch are 1 gravity of the earth, or the gravitational force, we can call it gravitational force frictional force is because of the atmosphere. Frictional force, atmosphere, air, exerts frictional force, exerts frictional force. We also have the weight of the rocket. The weight of the rocket acts downwards, right? The weight of the rocket acts downwards, and the thrust, that is an upward thrust. The weight of the rocket acts downwards, the up thrust acts upwards. Okay, so these are some forces that are acting on the rocket. Now the 10th and the last question of this chapter, I kind of write the rocket question, and because it's a little more complex, and as you go to higher classes you will learn more about these things. 10th question: when we press the bulb of a dropper with its nozzle kept in water, air in the dropper is seen to escape in the form of bubbles. Once we release the pressure on the bulb, water gets filled in the dropper. The rise of water in the dropper is due to atmospheric pressure. The answer is atmospheric pressure. Now let's understand this. Suppose if there is a container, okay, suppose if there is a container, and now this is not obviously a dropper diagram that I'm making, but the it can be understood in similar fashion, right? So once you're having a straw and you want to kind of drink water from the straw, the atmosphere, we will create suction, suck all the air out of the straw, and then the atmosphere will put in pressure for water to go inside the straw, right? Or you can imagine that you are taking a dropper, okay? A dropper that is kind of like this, right? You're taking a dropper and the atmosphere will pressurize it for the liquid to fill inside, right? So this is how atmospheric pressure helps in dropper being filled. Okay, so that's all the NCERT questions for force and pressure. Do well in your exams, children. Thank you.